Hey guys, we're back with another video. Today we'll be doing what if Issei was an Uchiha, and if you can see the background, and if you're an OG, if you remember the series I had, like where I was making everybody an Uchiha, which I did with Asta, which I haven't finished, and I don't think I ever will. I'm probably most likely gonna redo that because I was just all over the place with it. I didn't really have any basis with it. I was just all over the place. So in terms of that, I feel like I failed on that one. So I have to do it over or delete the series completely. So tell me if you want that to happen, or I'll pull a poll later. But that's not the case we're dealing with right now. We're dealing with, if you remember the old series, is where I gave the said character all the Uchiha that I can remember, and which I have been doing research on for the last few days, um, giving them the powers of them. And for this is my second time doing a Issei what if, and the reason why this is coming out over a lot of other what ifs is because the last Issei what if I kind of didn't even go too far with it. I only did like 2 episodes, and I finished it. I was done. I couldn't get it. I remember my software at that time was really short and was really annoying to record. So I was just thinking about deleting completely, but I decided to leave it. Cause I don't know, some people like this, so some people got 1K views before, so like yeah, and I talked really fast in that one, and I didn't really like that. Tell me if you guys want me to bring it back, but like I don't really know about it, but I know about this one because like to make it up to you guys, I'm gonna go a little bit further than I was planning to. I was actually planning to like go to like where he fully unlocked himself, but like since I didn't do the lot since I didn't do it, I'm gonna go past that. And if you can see, the ships are Konako and Akane. Listen up. There'll be more, obviously. There'll be more girls, but these are the main. These are the two focus, because if you don't know, spoilers. From here, I think it's the light novel. I believe. I think it's a light novel because I think the light novel is finished. Issei got kids with like a lot of other people. The only thing that surprised me in the ships, or like the children, was that Issei married, like got together with like Konako's sister. So yeah, that's a spoiler. So if you didn't use a spoiler, I guess it's kind of late. But anyways, yeah, it happens, and like yeah. So I don't know how I'm gonna start this off. Like, so I believe the next what if I'm gonna be doing. Well, y'all like, for you guys, I'm not even uploading at the same time. So when you get these what ifs, because I have like 2 in storage for you guys, 2, 3, I probably three to storage for you guys. I'm most likely tomorrow is gonna do what if Eren had all 9 Titan powers, which I feel is gonna be interesting. And the Darling in the Franxx one is gonna come out like after that, so I believe I'm also gonna do that too. So you're also gonna see that when it comes out. But that's gonna take time to prepare, and I'm gonna be like up all night editing. Well, probably not editing, but probably trying to figure out how to do this shit, or like how to take out some parts, or any excess background noise. That's the most I'm gonna do. I'm not editing shit after that. Anyways, and most editing I do, it doesn't really work, and I just like I just said fuck it, and I don't do it anymore. But yeah, and in my last video, well, you'll see is my Winter Soldier one. I was not in the best mindset at that time because this is like, all right. Let me explain. Right, we were having a party outside, right, and I kind of drank a little bit, like okay, not too much, but it was enough to notice about it. And I watched it over. I'm not doing it over. Fuck that shit. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna still post it because to me it was really funny how I was. But it was so funny because I could process my words properly. Because normally when I'm double decker drunk, and I'm not like an avid drinker, but like it's okay sometimes. It's not that bad. But like I'm not one of those niggas. I'm not alcoholic. I don't really divulge in that too much. But like that time, I was surprised I could conjure words. Right. I don't even know if I read the script right. Let's be honest here. Let me be honest with you. I don't even know. I think I was going off the fly with that one. But I don't know. Anyways, so yeah. Okay, so let's get into the video. I've been taking too long. So let's get into it. We see Issei on the ground, defeated by the Phoenix King or whatever. I don't know if it was a Phoenix. Yeah, he's a Phoenix King. And Jigen defeated the Phoenix King. And Issei, not Issei. Is it Issei? Issei Grammar. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. Red haired bitch. She ran up to Momoshiki and she hugged him and says, "Thank you for saving me." And then they went back into the castle or house or whatever it was, and Issei just went out in the yard. He just lost the fight. At first, he was winning it, but something happened. He doesn't know what happened, but something happened. But he's not going to divulge into it too much. Doesn't really care. We see a flashback of Issei on the outside of the door of I'm gonna call her Gramarie's door, on the outside of Gramarie's door, and he hears her calling him useless, telling Momoshiki that he's useless and that she only revived him because she saved him, like he saved him before, and she was just repaying it that, and plus he has a booster gear, so yeah, she was basically just trash talking his whole name, and Issei was he was hurt. I'm be honest with you, Maz was hurt, so Issei just went back outside. He didn't know what to do. And this is where his left hand started to glow, and his booster gear came onto his hand. He didn't want it to come, so there was something wrong. He looked at it, and this is where Dragon or Dragneel, I don't know what his fucking name is. Dragon says that him and Issei has been good friends, but I don't want to be your partner anymore. And he says, "This may kill you, may not. I don't really care. Bye, Issei Hyoto." And Issei's gauntlet, or whatever it was, just starts to crack and just break, and it just float away into the wind. And in particular, float into Issei's Gramarie's window, the window that she was in, and Issei just wasn't having it. He got up and he just put his hand in his pocket and he just walked back. Let's say it was a portal back to the human world. He just went into that, and he just was sad. Issei went back home and dropped on his bed and just started to sleep. Now, guys, y'all go wait, hold up. Did you just say Dragon left Issei? And matter of fact, he's supposed to be dead. How did he walk that off? One, who needs booster gear when you're in a fucking Uchiha? Let's be honest here. Man to man, who needs booster gear when you're in Uchiha? Especially when you have modern Uchiha's powers. Which one would you have? all of the Uchiha's abilities are booster gear. Exactly. I thought so. Anyways, um, I know he's not gonna have the nickname Grabbing Dragon. He's gonna have the God the Shinobi name, but like, you'll understand later. Okay. Anyways, so I guess people might get mad at me doing that. Normally I wouldn't actually, but I feel like it would make it way more tragic and like heartfelt if like even Dragon didn't want to be with him anymore. Like it would make him feel worse and drive him more into despair, and it would just be better in for, well, not for him, for plot reasoning is he better, but like for him, well, goddamn, like that's tough. But like I kind of need it to happen. Actually, I didn't need it to happen in the original, but who needs booster gear? Let's be honest here. Anyways, so Issei woke up and just went down to his room. His parents has been dead for about a few years now, and he had no one except Asia that lived there, and he felt something weird. Asia wasn't home. Normally, he would smell food downstairs, but he didn't. He walked downstairs, but he saw food, but it was covered. He looked at the note that was left there. It said this was Asia's handwriting. At Issei's POV, Aaron was looking at the note down on his hand, in his hand. The note read, "I'm sorry, Issei, but I am moving in with Momoshiki. Um, I left food downstairs, but Momoshiki offered me to live with him, and I took it up. And yeah, I'm sorry, but yeah." Issei just wasn't having it anymore. He put down the note, threw out the food because he wasn't eating that shit. He's petty like that. He said, "Fuck that noise." He's petty like that. But two he heard two text messages on his phone. He picked it out. He flipped it open because he has a flip phone. I don't know what phones were there at that time. And he saw it was Konako and Asia. Where's Asia? Yeah, Asia. And Konako said that although you're a pervert, how are you doing? And Issei just he lied, but he says I'm okay, and Asia asks the same question. Issei told her the same thing. They started to talk a little bit more, but Issei he was just done with it. He said he's going back to sleep, and they understood, and they stopped texting. And Issei just lied back down in his bed. But before he could just lay down, he heard a knock at his door. He got up and he opened the door to see the landlord. Well, yeah, the landlord. He had a smirk on his face and telling him that he only had 4 days to pay the rent, and and Issei said, "What rent?" And he showed him the thing that his parents have been paying rent for like at least 3 months now. And Issei is just, the fuck. Even in death, they're fucking me up. Ugh. I mean, even in death, fuck. Anyways, Issei just says okay, and he just goes back and goes in his room and slaps himself on the bed. Like he's done. He says, "Fuck that life, bro. I'm not about that gang." Issei just has this dead look in his eyes, and he just rolls over and starts to go to sleep. before he realizes that before going to sleep, well, in the middle of like falling to sleep, he realizes that they're on summer vacation. I know there's like a few 2 days, 2 days until vacation, but he's not going to school those 2 days. Fuck that. They can send him his report real quick. Fuck that. So Issei is just like, yeah, I'm going to my bed, and Issei just like he said, he just went to sleep after that. After that, he caught a really bad fever, and Asia and Konako came and checked on him and checked his temperature, and Issei didn't understand why they were doing this. Especially Konako. Konako always seemed to hate him, but she was living at some points in time. But most of the time, she just punched him. And then there was Asia. Asia was a very flirty type, but he never really took her teases in particular to be true. He just saw them as it is, teasing. So Issei asks them why they're helping him, and Asia says, one, you're our friend, and Konak says, two, because you're interesting. You can switch your mood up real quick. Some people would laugh sometimes to hide their pain. And I thought you would be the exact same person. When I heard about the whole Issei and Momoshiki thing, I thought you would have just hided it behind a smile. But I guess I was wrong, showing about how your condition was and how your house was really. You didn't really try to clean it, did you? Issei said, yeah. Asia said, anyways, I'm gonna have to go. Although I have duties to do, and so does Konako. So yeah, we'll just tell Issei that you're sick, so you can't really do anything right now. And to be honest, I don't really think she would care. Issei just said, sure. That's a promise. She won't care. Issei just turned his head and he said, all Issei was trying to do was repay a debt and using me. At the same time, she used me for my booster gear and a debt that she owed me for saving her life. Anyways, and this sickness came over for a week now, and Issei's been changing. He hasn't noticed this yet, but Asia and Konako, and he guessed that Issei noticed that Konako and Akane were spending time with Issei, so she put them on more missions or whatever they call them. I can't remember. Or contracts. I don't know. I can't remember. Damn it. So she was trying to make them not hang out with Issei. He guessed this, and he would be right. So they would have noticed the change either. So Issei's hair is becoming black, and it's becoming more limp and coming down on his face more. His face is still the same, but like that's what his hair is doing. He's gotten more taller, and he doesn't know it yet, but his abs are starting to come in and muscles, but he's starting to realize. But this is where he falls asleep, and he wakes up, and he's in a black void. Then he sees something, a hand pops out of the ground and grips the ground while coming up, pulling itself out of the ground. It had black eyes and nothing else. All you could see of his eyes were black. His hair was brown. He looked exactly like Issei, but except the black patches in Issei's hair, which he didn't have. This Issei spoke in a very dark and demonic tone, saying, "You should kill them." Issei said, "What?" He said it again. "You should kill them." Kill who? Issei, Momoshiki, all of them. Asuya, all of them. Issei looked at him. "Why would I do that?" "Because you hate them." Issei said, you wouldn't be wrong, but why would I dirty my hands with such filth?" "'Cause you want to. You want to kill them." "No, you don't want to kill them. You want to torture them. You want to make them suffer." Issei, she used you. She manipulated you. You want to kill her. Well, you wouldn't be wrong. But, sadly, I can't do that. One, she's a Grimoire. I can't even kill her because she's stronger than me. And two, I'm a pond. Three, I don't have my booster gear anymore. It doesn't matter. You will kill them with your bare hands. No matter what, even if you die, you'll kill them. Issei would say, "Now that's just stupid. Why would I waste my time on people like that? Waste my life on people like that? Why would I risk it for that, even in that matter?" "Because they're filth, like you said. Yeah, they're filth, but that filth is stronger than me. You shouldn't care about that." And this Issei, the dark Issei, I'm gonna call him, gets in a stance and say, "I'm gonna take control of your body. I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna kill them." Issei says, "You know what? I wouldn't mind that, but I want my life. I don't really care about them, but I kinda want to live a little bit longer." "You brat." And he would run towards Issei, and Issei would run towards him. This dark Issei would punch him in the face, punch him in the gut, and punch him in the nose in 3 quick successions. Issei would back away, but gain his bearings, and he would punch him over and over again. But this dark Issei wouldn't let up either. He used his booster gear, but which didn't make sense. Issei didn't have booster gear anymore. He didn't have dragon anymore. Which didn't make sense. But who gives a fuck? He said, and he heard boost, 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 boost. Issei knew he was gonna die if he didn't dodge this attack, and it kept going up. Boost, 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 again and again and again. He heard it, so he knew he had to either get hit by this and die, to not get hit by this and probably live. So Issei ran towards dark Issei, and when running forward, he dodged out of the way of his punch, grabbed his hand, and forced his hand to his face, killing dark Issei. Dark Issei turned into black liquid, and that black liquid started to become red, and the black spots formed 3 tomos. He was standing in basically a huge Sharingan. He looked around, and a Sharingan started to morph. It started to make different shapes until it finally settled, and all the shapes combined into one. And dark figures, dark huge statues, one with short hair and one red eye, and then another one with a purple eye, with black symbols in each of those. But the purple eye had 6, and the red eye had 3. Then there was another one with short hair with a tauntaun strapped onto his back. He had a Sharingan, but it had a weird form of a pinwheel. Then there was another with black, long, spiky hair, with red eyes, with two purple eyes. Then there's another one with crows on its hand, and it had one eye visible anyways, and he could see his Sharingan, and his Sharingan had a shuriken like design in it. Then there was another one that had kind of a swirling scar on his face. He also had one purple eye and one Sharingan, but the purple eye didn't have any tomos in it. Only the Sharingan had tomos. And these statues' hands started to move, and the statues were made out of goop and black liquid, and it was slowly dripping in the pool of water. And they completely fell down, and all their hands landed on Issei, kind of like looking like it crushed him. But he got pushed under this red and black liquid. Then some of it started to turn purple, and all of it flooded into his body. And on the outside world, he became a lot taller. He became around Sasuke's height at the end of Shippuden. So he became that height. He gained, his hair turned fully black. His facial feature changed. So imagine an older version, a 16-year version of this person here. This is Madara. This picture here is Madara, but imagine him if he still kept his short hair, and he being 16. So yeah. Issei woke up from what he thought was a dream. But when he actually waked up, he grabbed his eyes and he yelled in pain. He said, "Damn it! What is going on? Ugh! Fuck! My eyes!" He ran to the bathroom and looked in the mirror. He saw the pattern in his eyes that he saw in all those other dreams. The Mangekyo Sharingan with all the other so all these people you can see on the screen, all the Uchiha there, imagine all their Mangekyos combined into one. That's what his eyes look like now. He says, "What the fuck?" And then he started receiving memories, and he started to hurt his head. He fell on the ground, landing on his knees, just crying and clawing at his head. He says, "What is this pain? What the hell's going on? Get me out. Please help me." He yelled out. It is pure scream of anguish and pain. His eyes started to bleed, and his left eye began to turn purple and gain tomo inside of that left eye. And he's just on the floor. He started flashing through memories, but these memories were techniques. He started to see Sasuke, but Sasuke's face were blanked out. But he saw the Kiri Jutsu, the Shidori, the snake summoning, the eagle summoning, the fireball jutsu. Then he got Itachi's, Amaterasu, Tsugayomi, Crow substitution, Crow body flicker, Genjutsu, multiple Genjutsus, like Tree Binding Death, Reversal Genjutsu, and a lot of others. Then there was Madras. He was a beast. That's all Issei could see, a beast. He saw Madara, the Limbo, majestic destroyer flame, wood release, wood dragon, deep forest emergence, storm release, light thang, and multiple other jutsus, including earth, wind, water. Then there was Shisui's. He saw Koto Matakami, body flicker, Uchiha style halo dance. Then he started to see something. Then he went back to Sasuke. He saw a being, what looked like a being anyways. It had a crossbow, and it was shooting crossbows. Then it flashed to Itachi. He saw a shield and a sword, with Itachi sealing something into the sword and putting it into the barrel or whatever. Then he saw Shisui. Boy oh boy. Shisui had a drill sword. His power wasn't really nothing memorable on, but he was great at such a young age. Then it went to Madara, and what Issei saw was just death. He saw the hugest thing he saw in his life. Madara's perfect Susanoo. Then it went to Obito. But this wasn't Obito. Obito was standing behind the man, but he wasn't the one inside the Susanoo. He saw a white-haired man with both red eyes. Basically, Obito's Mangekyo Sharingan. He had a massive Susanoo, just like Madara's, but he had Shuriken that looked like the pattern in his eyes. He threw them and it teleported it somewhere else. Then he went back to Sasuke again. Then he learned Amaterasu. Then he saw Amaterasu. He saw flame control, how to use it, or in different words, blaze release. He saw how to push and pull, summon the king of hell, how to do Senra Tensei, or the fucking meteor thing, to what Pain tried to do to Naruto. Basically, that's what it was. He saw how to replace things, to replace himself with something else. How to observe jutsu, how to make weapons in his, like how to make his body into weapons, so how to make missiles come out of his hands, how to do a lot of other shit. Then there was Shisui. Shisui had a Koto Matsukami. There was one. At first glance, Shisui's looked like he had only one ability. But if you look closer, it looked like he has two. One was an indefinite one, where you could never break out of it. Then there was another one. where it looked like if you were never if you never were told you were being manipulated, you would have never known. You would never came out of it. Now let me explain. Let me explain. So, at first glance, you would think Shisui only has one Mangekyo ability. It's never been strictly said that Shisui has two Mangekyo abilities. His left eye works different than his right eye. The right eye is what Itachi got, and Itachi was able to genjutsu himself, and he was able to his break Kabuto's genjutsu by basically making himself do something that he didn't. Well, his body was not wanting to do, and he knew he was being controlled by Shisui's eye, but he didn't break out of the control. Now, if you go back to the Kage summit in Naruto, the Kage summit with Danzo, I think this is a manga, but this was in a manga, not the anime. I don't know if it was actually stated in the anime, but anyways, Danzo was manipulating Fayume, the samurai, like manipulating him. But is when the guy with the Byakugan pointed it out to him, he broke out of it. So yeah, at first glance it doesn't seem like it, but yeah, Shisui has two Mangekyo abilities. So yeah. So let's go back. Then he looked at Madara. Madara had a limbo. His Mangekyo ability was basically reversing time. Well, not reversing time, but something would happen to him, and then he would reverse it to a point where he knew about it, but the other person didn't. It was basically time travel but he can't do it for long, so he can't go back a full year, but he can go back. So Madara. So damn, why he saying so Madara? Fuck. Anyways, so although those were two abilities and Sasuke had way more than that, those two abilities were OP in Issei's eyes. And everybody else, that shit is OP. Anyways, then he went to Itachi. Itachi was a god. Well, he was not more god than Madara, but he did demand some respect. He had a Koto, Sugayomi. And dear God, you were basically God, literally, in that world. You could control the flow of time, how much days passed, how much second lasted. You could create anything in that world. You could create buildings, you could create swords, you could create anything you want in that genjutsu. And it would feel like you're physically being hurt. No matter how much you say this is illusion, you'll break eventually. Then we go to Obito. Obito, well, was Obito. He was fucking strong. But he did see that Obito was a symptom. But we won't talk about that. He looked at Obito. His ability was overpowered. He could phase to any matter if he willed it to. He could also place people in a dimension. But if the person had the same dimensional coordinates in him, has the same ability as him, he can't really do much. Well, not do much. Well, he can't really teleport. But if, well, not teleport. He can't really phase through things because he runs the risk if he goes into there and he tries to phase, he's gonna get hit. Because you remember, what Obito does is like put portion of his body inside of the common dimension. So yeah, or like phases his whole body. So like yeah. Then he went back to Sasuke. Sasuke had a mark on his neck, a 3 Tomoe looking mark. He activated it, and its markings covered half of his face. Then it covered covered all of his body. Then this skin started to darken and become a brown color. The outside of his eyes became black, and his Sharingan, well, stayed the same basically. But he grew hand wings out of his back, and his power became extremely better. His lightning became black, becoming cursed lightning. Then he went to Madara. Madara, on his chest, he had a face. And on that face, there was a circle on the forehead with a dot inside of that circle. Then there was markings around the irises, all reaching all the way down to his below his ear. His and the eyes on his chest, although you really couldn't see it, was yellow. Then Madara changed. His skin became white, also with his hair. He gained a crown made out of his horns. He ripped off the horn and showed it a third eye. The eye was fully red, with black circles surrounding that eye, with 9 tomos inside of that eye. He had on a cloak, made out a black and white cloak, with black shoes and orbs surrounding his back. Then he looked at Obito. Obito had a similar form, but it was different. To be honest, it looked weaker and more unstable than what Madara's was. But anyways, then he heard a snap. Then he woke up. He looked at the mirror and saw how much he changed, how much his body changed. He gained 2 canines, as in sharp teeth. His eyes became pitch black. His hair settled more on his face. It was no longer brown, but black. One of his eyes was the Mangekyo Sharingan that I talked about earlier. Then his eyes was a Rinnegan, with Tomo inside of it. He looked at this and said, "My name is Issei Hyodo. No, Issei Uchiha." He started to chuckle. And I am the true god of Shinobi. He walked out of the bathroom and went outside because he heard a knock. When he looked outside, he saw a woman. A woman had her hair in a bun with a pencil keeping it together. She had a clipboard and a stack of papers. She was wearing high heels and a skirt. She was wearing a white shirt with a jacket on. He looked at her. He said, "Hi." And she said, "Hi." she told him, "May I come in?" And Issei says, "Well, he can't stay out there in the cold." And he let her in. Got her to the table. Only upstairs was messy because, yeah, he was depressed. He didn't have that time. He was depressed. He didn't have the time to clean up there, so he made her sit in the dining room. So she says, "I'm gonna get straight to the point. Issei Hilda or Issei Uchiha." Issei looked at her, like saying, "How the fuck does she know my?" And she says, "Issei Uchiha, you're the sole heir to the Uchiha household. I'm sorry we couldn't find you earlier. Let me explain. You probably don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Uchiha household and all. Let's explain your family lineage. You were adopted. You know that, right?" "Yeah, I know." "Perfect. I don't have to go through all of that. Let's start with your great-great-great-grandfather. Your great-great-grandfather had many children. Those children he sent money to. And over the time, those children became richer and richer and richer. They were spread out in multiple places of the country, but most of them were in Japan. And it then led to your parents. Now your parents were very adventurous people. Let me just get down to the straight facts. Basically, all your other family members, including your parents, died. You're the only, and I mean the only, last left Uchiha with the Uchiha name. So, you're the sole heir to all that money. And let me explain why we couldn't find you earlier. When you went to the orphanage to pick you up, to see if you were still there, you weren't. You were already adopted, which we found weird. How do you adopt a kid in just a few weeks? Now, I'll explain that. Those parents you called parents, that they died a few months ago, right? Issei said, "Yeah. They kind of stole you, or they were kind of paid to steal you. You see, the people that your parents had as so-called friends, they wanted all their money, and they knew the only way in the way of that is you, Issei Uchiha. So, they played them to take all their money. We went to investigate their house, and we found the letters that they sent and the address of you. It looked like one of the butlers, the loyal ones anyways, decided he would come clean. He told us about all of it, and sadly the butler died a few years ago. You can decide if you want to pay the man's family a portion of money of what he did. But he gave us the address of you and the truth of what happened. The friends were arrested. You were lucky though. It would only taken a year until they got all that money. And she had him a paper. And when Issei looked at that paper, he couldn't believe it. He could see multiple zeros. Imagine a paragraph, right? It started off with, let's say, 7. And then from 7 became 0 until a paragraph was made. A paragraph of at least 25 words. You know what? 35 words. A paragraph of 35 words. And he was shocked. He had that much money in his hands now. She looked at him. Issei Hyodo, I'm your bank accountant. I'm your lawyer. And I am here as your command. I will follow every order you give me, even the ones that are a little indecent, to the bone. Issei would look at her. He would nod his head, and he would start moving his boxes. God, I'm sorry for the background noise of the rain. Issei started to pack up his stuff, and his accountant went back to her office. He looked at the place one more time and said one last time, I hate you all. Mother, father. Know what? Not even my mother or my father. Just some insignificant people. No, that's too harsh. They did raise me. They didn't raise me right, but they did raise me. You are my fake parents. I can never forgive you, but I also can never forget the time that I spent with you. Packed up his stuff and he went off to his new house, the closest house that he owned in Japan, which, to be honest, wasn't that far from his home. I'll show you a picture now. This is Issei's house. He pulled up to the house and he looked at it and says, wow. He started to move his boxes in. There was no maids, and his accountant told him that the maids came every Sunday, so you get it clean every Sunday, Saturday, or Friday. So he was content with it. Issei wondered about something. If this were the Uchiha clan, or Uchiha household or whatever, maybe they were here. He looked down, he went down the stairs, and he looked at, he went down to the stairs, and he activated his Sharingan. He saw nothing, because remember, chakra doesn't exist here. Well, only humans. He's talking not. There's no nature. Well, actually, no. I'm capping. So yeah, there's chakras, but no one else can use it but Issei and his children. Issei saw one chakra box. He went down, and he moved a bookshelf. And here and there it was. He saw Sharingan, kunai, and the grass cutter. He also saw some clothes. A black shirt with a thin rope, with black pants and a black shinobi shoes, with the vest looking thing having a kind of a strap to hold the grass cutter. He put it on. Well, he took it out and packed it in another bag, saying he would wear it if Issei gave him any missions. He took out the sword and swung it around. This is where he would get another memory. He would see Sasuke swinging the sword. How light, when the sword was slashed, the wind bent to its will. He saw when Sasuke put lightning through it. When he extended it with lightning. Then he saw Shisui. He saw how Shisui used his sword quick and using pressure points with his tanto. Although the tanto was short, it was deadly. Then he saw Itachi. Itachi was good at a sword, but he didn't have any skills to say of, but he was good at it though. And there was Madara. He was even surprised to see Madara knew how to use a sword. The man was a beast already. Issei then woke up out of this dream. He then swung the sword, a combination of Sasuke's, Shisui's, Itachi's, and Madara's swings and slashes. He sheathed the sword and carried upstairs. He washed his hair and took a bath. He knew he had to go back yesterday, paid off his debt to that landowner, but he needed to go to court. Although he was in the house, he didn't fully get rights to everything. He's 16, as in 16 being age of consent and able. Basically, he's an adult right now, being the age of 16. And Konako is 16, and yeah, Konako's 16. By the way, she's 15 in anime. She's 16 now. Well, she's 15 and a half. I don't want to eat her up that quickly. So Issei looked at his hands and decided his life is changing. His body is changing. Everything is changing. But the only thing that didn't want to was his mind. But that was gonna change soon for him. He says, I'm giving up on this childish attitude I had. I love Akane and Konako. I'm open to other relationships, but I'm not a pervert anymore. I don't care. He went upstairs, he took a bath, brushed his teeth, put on some new clothes, and went outside to see his father's car. Well, his father's many cars, but his favorite one was the black BMW. This car right here. He had his driver's license, but he knew he was never gonna use it because he had no car. No money to buy a car. So he didn't see the use of it before, but now he has a car. So he grabbed the keys from the lobby. He turned on the car and he drove it outside. He told Konako and Akane that he wanted to go on a date. He was really blunt with it. He didn't guide around. He didn't try to go around. He just said a date. Konako and Akane, when reading this, was shocked to see how blunt Issei was and how demanding his message sounded. Akane was, I'm just gonna say it, she was aroused by that. She liked an assertive man. And that message just said it loud and clear. He was assertive now. Konako was surprised. She also saw that as being assertive, but she never thought of any man could make her like that. But she did like her. She did like Issei. So she got into a pink shirt and a black dress with a kind of a choker with a bell attached to it. Because we all know Konako is cat girl senpai. Yeah, I said it. Cat girl senpai. To the first year, she's cat girl senpai, but to Issei, she's just girl senpai. Cat girl senpai. Cat girl. So Issei just went outside and he went to Akane's house first. Went out her house but her apartment. Sorry for the rain in the background. Issei tooted his horn and Akane walked outside and see this black car. He rolled down the windows and says, "Hey Akane, Akane says, who are you? And it says, you don't remember me? Issei, Issei Yodo, blah blah blah, pervert. Kinda be texting you for the last few weeks. This is when she realizes it's Issei. Because no one knew she was texting Issei except Issei. Damn it, their names are really similar. But yeah, she was surprised to see him, and Issei says that things changed. I don't know how it changed. I don't know how my body changed. I don't know why it changed. But it changed. I just learned how to deal with it. And she had no complaints. She blushed and was flustered when looking at Issei. She got in the car and they drove to Konako's house. They drove to Konako's house. Konako had the same reaction, but slowly understood that it was Issei. So they drove to a cafe and had muffins, coffee. It was a night, so it was kind of romantic, kind of. They had muffins, coffee, and tea. And they just started to talk, and Issei explained how his life is going now. He didn't explain about the powers he's gained, but he wanted to leave that to a surprise to them. But he says it's best not to tell Issei about this meeting or about any other future meetings, because I guess she's gonna try to kind of make you distant from me, right? They nod their heads, and Issei says, at least she still thinks I'm sick. Then she'll be busting my ass to go do fucking deliveries. She was... Akane says, you aren't wrong. Konako says, bluntly, Issei, you become handsome, and you don't give off that pervert vibe anymore. Issei looked at her and smiled. This was not a smile, happy smile. This was a seductive smile. And although he didn't plan on doing anything with them, that smile, they understood that he wasn't trying to do anything with them, but he knew he was making that start of smile. And they blushed and they got flustered, and they just looked away from Issei. Issei looked at them and chuckled and says, yeah, how destiny has twisted. Things are weird now, but I like weird. It makes life all the more interesting. They finish off their food, well, their muffins, and they go back. Konako liked the muffins more than everybody else because she had sprinkles, so she was really good with it. They had normal muffins. Yes, there's muffins with sprinkles. I had one. They're not cupcakes, they're muffins with sprinkles inside of them and a Nutella filling inside of it. Yes, that sounds weird, I know, but I've had one. And dear God, if I had to choose between my girlfriend and that muffin, and a lifetime supply of that muffin, see ya, bitch. Anyways, Issei just not left. They went to the back to the car, and Issei says, "We'll just go for ice cream and I'll drop you back home, right?" And they nod their head, and Issei goes to a ice cream shop, and they start eating the ice cream. Both Akane and Konako get ice cream on the side of their mouth, and Issei licks it off their mouth and says, "Chocolate and vanilla, huh? I'm a cookies and cream guy, but anyways." they blush and they're flustered. Akane in particular, she is surprised that she's getting flustered and blushing because she does do this a lot. She does this to a lot of fucking people, and they're on the receiving end of the blush. But Issei doesn't have a red face in sight. He's just blank with it. And Konako, she's kind of, she wants to call him a pervert, but Issei, the normal Issei, would have just probably just lifted up her skirt or something. But this Issei was seductive. It wasn't a pervert. It was seductive. I'm kind of a pervert, but seductive in general. Okay. So Issei, they got back into the car, and Issei drove them back home, and Issei went back home to his new house, anyways. Issei then decided to do more training. Then in deciding to keep his sword on him at all times, because he feels like he's gonna always need it, and he feels like he kind of is gonna need to change it to his suit a lot. So he then placed seals around his body, especially storage seals, modify them so when he does the release sign, his clothes that he had on. So let's say he had on his school uniform. His uniform would be replaced with this. So yeah. Have I been here for an hour? Damn. Anyways, so a few weeks pass, and Issei's just been going out with Konako and Akane, and they've been doing a lot of stuff. They haven't done anything, but all of them know that they're in a relationship. Both of them know. Even Issei just said it, like, he's not the type to have one girl. He's a type to have multiple girls. He likes to have variety. And they don't mind it. They have never officially stated that they're in a couple, but they've implied it most of the time. So a few weeks pass and summer ends. Issei gets up in the morning and he goes and puts on his white shirt with slim black stripes, with a red tie and a black pants with some black shoes. He fixes his hair and takes up a black bag that is mainly used for kendo people to carry their swords around in public. So they don't have their swords. So it's the basic that bag people have if they're, well, kendo sticks, but Issei has a sword on it. So he puts it on his back, grabs his bag, and hops in the car and drives to school. He parks in the parking lot and, well, parks outside of the school. He walks into the school and he goes into the class. Now, everyone doesn't recognize Issei, but it's only when he walks up. Now, Issei's voice is a little deeper, but you can still recognize it if he was speaking. But he had a more calm and mellow tone to his voice now. It wasn't completely different, but it was noticeably deeper and calmer. So when Issei went up to his friends, at first they didn't know who this was. They thought this was a new kid. But Issei says, "I kinda hurt that you don't even know your own friend. And to think of it, I'm kind of one of your guys' only friends." And they look and say, "Issei?" Issei says, "The one and only." And they go up to Issei and say, "Man, you've gotten taller. Your hair became black." Hold on, guys. Hello. I'm recording right now, buddy. Yeah, I ain't call you back. Well, as I finish. Sorry about that. another YouTube friend, like he does like what's it called now? He does like he does gameplay in Fortnite gameplay. So if you want to check out his channel, I'll put his channel in the description. Maybe I put it in the comments. I gave his channel a little promotion. I actually not remember that I was supposed to do it before, but I'll give your channel a little promotion. He's that nigga. He's my best friend. Well, not my best friend, but he's one of my greatest friends because I knew him since we were kids. So like, yeah, I kind of knew him like that. We're on that same length thing. So I'll put his thing in the comments, and he called me because we're gonna play Fortnite. So if you want him to record of me being a noob at Fortnite, okay, let's not account. We all know I'm not a noob at Fortnite, but I do use my Nintendo Switch, which I didn't get too long ago. So I also don't really have much familiarity with playing Fortnite on my Nintendo because I don't really play it much. But when I do play it, I'm kind of it's a weird thing to like say. So yeah, if you guys want me to see play Fortnite with my good friend, just go over to his comments and like go over to his channel, and you'll be able to see me play some Fortnite. You'll be able to see me hit that spool, and he probably wrecking me because on Nintendo I am complete garbage. If I go my PS5, well, he's wrecked hard as fuck. Like he's a pleb. But if I'm on my Nintendo though, I'm fucked. Like bro, like no homo, he gonna beat my ass. Like no cap. Anyways, let's get back into the video, okay? So Issei, he just, yeah. So they were just saying like, bro, you've changed though. And Issei says, yeah. And they say, damn. And Issei says, can you stop staring? The whole class is kind of doing it. So you doing it, and you're my friend, is kind of making me uncomfortable. And they say, I'm sorry, bro. And Issei says, I haven't changed. Well, in the fact that I've stopped being a pervert, I'm changed. But our friendship hasn't changed. I'll still indulge in like watching stuff with you, but I sold all my comics. Well, no, I didn't sell them. I stored them. I'm deciding to give it all to you. Even my limited edition. I can't believe I'm saying this. Cat Girl Senpai 3. It hurts my heart. Ugh. This is what? You're giving that away to us? Yeah. Issa says, yeah. Although, I don't want to. It's for the greater good. Issei says, bro, you're making a big sacrifice there. Issei says, you guys are my bros. You're my niggas. You were with me from day one, so why wouldn't I? They say, bro. And this is weird. All the girls in the class just run up to Issei and says, is that really you, Issei? How did you become so hot? Did you stop being a pervert? When did you take up doing kendo? And Issei says, calm down. Yes, I'm Issei Hiro, but I found out my real parents. I'm adopted, remember? Well, I guess you wouldn't remember that because I didn't really tell anybody that. But I'm adopted, and I found my real parents. Well, I know who my real parents are. He kind of puts his eyes to the side, but they're dead now, but they left a lot for me. So technically now I'm rich, but it still hurts to know that my parents are gone. But hey, what can you do? Yes, I've been doing kendo since I was 7, but I never decided to do kendo at school, but now I decided that I should carry it around with me at all times. And I don't consider myself hot, but if you do, fine. They all blush, and they kind of say sorry for talking about his parents, but the girls are just swarming him with questions, and the teacher comes in and says, a new student, and Issei says, no, teach. I'm Issei Hyodo, or Issei Uchiha. And he hands in the papers and says, boy, you've changed over the summer. Well, it has been at least half a year. Let me explain why it's been half a year. Because they didn't do summer vacation last year, so they got half a year off. So yeah, that's what happened. So they are just, damn. And Issei says, now guys, we'll be doing a test. This will determine your scores for the rest of the year. And this is actually very important, because if you score very high on this test, you'll be able to, when you finish the school, able to go to one of the top high schools. I mean, colleges. I think they were in high school already. Colleges. Issei looked at him. And tell me down below if it was like, if they're in college or middle school. I can't remember. But anyways, college or whatever. And Issei, so they bring out the test, and Issei's been studying he went to the library, the public library. He went to his library. He was just Sharingan to memorize every single word, everywhere. So he has all the knowledge. So he goes and writes down the answers, and he says, teacher, I'm finished in about 5 minutes. And he's just shocked. He says, you couldn't have finished it. He looked at it, he says, damn. He looked at the answer sheet. He got all the questions right. And there's no way he could have cheated, because they checked everyone's body before coming here. And the people that were checking the body was the principal, and the principal was a woman. And damn, she was blushing. Anyways, so they knew that he couldn't have been cheating. And all their bags were left outside. So he did this all on his own. So Issei, you've been studying, huh? Issei says, yeah. I decided to kind of change my life around a bit, eh? He says, I'm glad you're taking this seriously now. Yeah. I've kind of been just slacking and just deciding what was the point of it. But now I decided that I guess it's time to change. And he says, that's good. And he takes out the paper, he corrects it all, and he brings it to the principal. The principal calls Issei immediately and says, what have you been doing past this half of a year? Issei says, nothing but studying. And if you want to know, I didn't dye my hair. A doctor said it was something in my genes, and it now, because something in my genes and turned my hair black and my eyes black. A genetic mutation, he said. He gave her the papers, and that's what the doctor said. And she was like, well, I'm happy for you. She says, thanks, and smiles. Issei goes outside, and he sees Akane and Konako. They finished their test, because they got their test earlier, and he says they heard about your scores outside of the door. Issei says, yeah, I've been learning. They both come in front of him and says, I hope no girls in that class try anything, right? They're all fake, you know that, right? Issei says, yeah, they only care about me now because I've become quote-unquote hot and rich. But I found it out later. He says, so you're eating lunch with us? Konako asks. He says, yeah, I'll eat lunch with you. Now they skip to the end of the day, and Issei walks into the room. And Issei says, this is only for the club members only. Please leave. Issei says, you know what? I'm not even surprised that you don't recognize me. Issei Grummery. I'm Issei Hyodo. Or Issei Uchiha. Whatever you want to use. She says, look at him. Issei. The one and only. He says, you've changed. She caught a blush on her face, but Issei didn't care. You have changed, Issei Gamery. And this is where two people walk in. One with twin tails and kind of brownish orangish hair. One with a dark purple looking hair, if green with green in it. But what's gonna happen in the next video? Is that Issei's former childhood friend? Or Issei and that former childhood friend gonna get together? You have to find out in part 2. So guys, this video has been long, and I pray to God that I took recording, because if it wasn't, I'll be mad. I'm not doing these over. So yeah, I am so happy, guys. Like, this went well, surprisingly. There was only that one interruption, which I found weird because it came way later. But guys, that'll be it. And I know some of you will be scared for the long ass video, but dear God, this was good. So this is the end of the video, guys. So I'm glad to see you guys. Bye, and that's all I gotta say for you. Mm-hmm. Yeah.